have your fear, which might become reality. And you have Godzilla, which is reality.
I'm sick of Godzilla. Wake up, everyone! There are two things you don't know about the Earth. One is me, and the other is Godzilla.
We're safe enough. No human being can understand that. The monsters on Monster Island can understand it.
Whether he returns or not, or is never again seen by human eyes, the things he has taught us remain.
Happy Mother's Day from YHS on Monster Island. Jay, how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. And yes, I echo your statement. Happy Mother's Day to all the
It's our Mother's Day
Monster
episode.
Mamas. Yeah, it is. Well, you know, it's perfect. It is. It ties in nicely. And this actually was a happy accident. We did not plan it that way. We were like,
We didn't plan it?
Oh,
I
yeah.
figured you planned it. I forget about exactly when Mother's Day is every year, and I was thinking about it. I was like, oh, Mother's Day is coming up. Oh, we're talking about Gorgo. Jay did this on purpose.
I did not, it was more all the talk, like the Titanic creation stuff last week and everything. It just kind of brought it top of mind. So, it's, but I'm glad we did.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited to talk about Gorgo a little later. I'm spoiler alert. This movie's awesome.
Do I redeem myself after the space monster Wong Mogwai?
Yeah, and I've seen Gorgo a million times, but it's been a while. Me and you had a conversation about how it's been a long time since we'd both seen Gorgo, but had good memories of it. And I was like, as I was putting it on to rewatch, I was like, oh, watch this. God, I hope this doesn't suck. I hope my memory is not wrong and this doesn't suck. And I think it's a great movie. So
yeah, it was a fun rewatch. I also get very nervous when we watch a movie that we haven't seen in a long time, but we have like good memories of.
Yeah.
Not even like, oh, well, I don't really remember all the stuff about like Gorgo. I feel like I have watched it, last month, even though it's probably been 20 years.
Yeah.
And it is nice when it doesn't, make you, at the end of it, when you're not like, oh, I have to rethink everything I've ever watched over the last 3 decades.
Checking to see how long it's got left. Is how I am on some of these movies, but
no, it was good. I'm glad we picked it up.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. But before we get to that, we're gonna do the usual. There's actually some new. We didn't have any news last week, I think, but
not a lot.
We actually got a little bit of news to talk about. Some pickups. Yeah. Jay, first of all, do you want to talk about? I can't tell what shirt you're wearing there, but I think we might have some new shirts. Is that a thing?
I don't think we have this one. This is actually a new Toku Toy Town shirt.
Okay, so that's not. Well, we could put that one in the store too, but we do have some. I don't know if you have the below the collar link or for the new stuff, or
I can pull it up. Oh, actually, I don't know if it's actually officially.
It might not be up there yet.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, we're gonna have some shirts on a new site. It's the shared YHS site. So there's have some podcast stuff on there. There's Toy Anxiety shirts on there, and there's gonna be some new Monster Island stuff on there. Other than that, do you have any other
Yeah, not a ton, man. I talked last week. You were so kind to let me talk about the Kaiju Go event, and that was really cool. And no major updates on that. No, we haven't announced anything huge. With one exception, we did announce our first vendor that's going to be part of the cool little bar gallery upstairs. And for those that are big in the indie toy world, especially in the Southwest, Chance Priest, Victory Comics or Warriors of the Universe has signed on to be there with not only some of his cool, unique designer vinyl and designer toys, his kind of bootleg art toys, folk art, whatever you want to call it. It kind of blurs all the worlds together. He's also going to be bringing some of his vintage kaiju. So his collection is extensive and goes all the way back to the late 60s. So that's going to be really cool. So we were super excited to get him on board. He's has a huge loyal following here, especially in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and Texas in general. So really cool to have him. And then in the next couple of weeks, we'll be announcing more really cool vendors, some artists. and some other things, but it's still kaijugo.com if anybody's interested or in the area and wants to check it out. But we're really pumped. It's picking up some momentum here.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. I'm excited about that. I wish I could be there, but it's looking like it's gonna be really awesome. Jay, I'm looking at our notes here, and I want to tell you, I'm on like 3 other podcasts, and rundowns is having a rundown is unique to this show for me. We don't get that on YHS. Craig does not send us rundowns or notes. We just press record and we go. So it's nice to have notes sometimes. But you watch some stuff. I don't know if you want to talk about some of the stuff you watched. I didn't watch anything.
You will, because you're on 19 podcasts.
I watched Guardians of the Galaxy. I watched Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and
I haven't seen it yet. No spoilers. Yeah,
no spoilers. I'm trying to think of nothing.
I heard it's good.
I mean, it's a Marvel movie, but it's good. Yeah. It's good for a Marvel movie. They're not good anymore.
No, you and I had the exact same thoughts on Marvel. Like after Endgame, I was basically like, none of it's been really worth a damn since. Like, I don't even go see them in the theater anymore.
It's definitely the best thing since Endgame. It's a Guardians movie, but yeah, it's still fucking Marvel piece of shit. What'd you watch, Jay?
So the first thing I watched was so I'm not a Super Sentai guy. I'm not a Power Rangers guy. I mean, when they first popped up in 93, I was like 11, 12-ish. So like I watched it because I loved monsters and stuff, but like it wasn't, I didn't get into the craze and buy the toys and stuff. I was probably a year or two older than most of the folks that were into it. My cousins were super into it. But I did watch the Once and Always, the Netflix special, because I've read, and I think I read the reviews that it was like, it's nostalgia done right. And so I gave it a shot, and it was fine. I mean, it was exactly what I expected, and tying into like obviously the real life passing of the actress that played like the original Yellow Ranger and all this other stuff. And it was but it was for a Power Rangers type movie. I actually enjoyed it. It was a fun little watch. I'm not going to watch it again, but it was fine. I thought they did a really good job. But there was a giant monster in there, so I'd put it in Kaiju.
Sure. I will say I want to give the listeners a little bit of behind the scenes. Jay asked if we should review this for the show, since it's like kind of, and I vetoed it because I don't want to watch that shit. I don't care about the Power Rangers. I've never really cared. I watched a little bit when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Just not for me though. I was like, nah, I don't want to watch that.
Yeah. And so, but what it did though, so I watched that probably like the day after I asked you if you wanted to watch it. I was like, and I really watched it at late at night. I just put it on, and it's short. And anyway, but it got me thinking, like, like I've been putting off watching a lot of the kind of second tier tokusatsu properties, like not Ultraman, not Kamen Rider, not even Sentai, but like, what about the other guys? The guys that we know the imagery and we know some of the monsters in it, but like I've never watched Mirrorman and Spectreman and Fireman and all those. And so I just went down like a little rabbit hole and started watching the first episodes of all these kind of second tier tokusatsu films, like shows, excuse me. I focused really on like the 3. I was very curious. I wanted to watch Mirrorman, and I wanted to watch Spectreman, and I wanted to watch Fireman, because Fireman had a lot of people that I knew from other tokusatsu shows. It had the guy, I forgot his name, but in Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla and Terror of Mechagodzilla, the guy that plays kind of the chief simian, the chief black hole alien, he's like one of the guys in there. And it has the guy that plays Aka Ranger in the original Sentai, Himitsu Sentai Go Ranger, and it has the brother with the cane in Return of Ultraman. He's on the team. And anyway, but it's all about like, it's like irradiated dinosaurs against Fireman, who's like an Ultraman. And this show was came out for the 10th anniversary of Subaraya Productions. It was one of the shows they released, and it's one season, and I really liked it. I've watched like 3 or 4 episodes of it. Fireman is probably my favorite of the 3 so far. I did watch Spectreman just because I've seen so many images of the crazy like bad guy ape guy. It looks like he's from Planet of the Apes, Dr. Gory. And he's so wacky and over the top. And so I watched a little bit of Spectreman, and it's goofy and fun. And then Mirrorman I really liked. I liked it a lot. The actor that played Mirrorman was in an Ultra Q episode. I can't remember which one it was. But anyway, so I watched those. I watched a little bit of Iron King and some other wacky ones that just like on the.
I think I own Iron King. I think I own
it has a Milk Creeper Arrow.
Yeah, I think I bought it because I saw it like in a Walmart or something.
Yeah,
like, let me buy this. I need it, but
it's kind of goofy and fun. But I've just really enjoyed kind of these more obscure, weird, not obscure to the general public, very obscure, but to the tokusatsu crowd, not so much. And so I'm excited to kind of dive a little bit deeper in some of them. I think I'm going to continue watching Fireman. That, like I said, that one held my interest the most. But it does tie into the pickups, these kind of your tokusatsu and when I get there. But that's what I've been watching. And I think I'm going to, I'm still going back watching some Ultra Q because I am building out my top 10. I'm working on that as we speak. And I have the top 10 done. I'm scripting that out right now. But it's been kind of fun and just like different and, as opposed to just watching my typical kaiju fare. So
that's exciting. I want to check some of those out. I'm excited to see your top 10 Ultra Q because it's got to be hard. Yeah, I was going to say it's got to be hard because so many of those episodes, I know there's not even a ton of episodes to pick from, but 27 of them are great probably. It's like, it's been a while since I've seen them all, but so many of them are good episodes.
The hard thing with Ultra Q for me on the ranking was there's not a lot of separation. Like my number 6 and number 10 are basically, I like them the same. Right. Also they're so different because, when I rank Ultraman, it's Ultraman against insert kaiju. And when I watch Ultra 7, it's Ultra 7 against insert alien. Right. But like, there's something there, like they're all kind of the same similar style and build. And there's some episodes that do things a little bit different and they're standouts. Well, Ultra Q, everything's different. I mean, because you have some that have monsters, you have some that have aliens, you have some that have no monsters or aliens. It's just kind of like a near future humanity or a Balloonga, which spoiler is in the top 10. But then there's some that like are like early, like Japanese horror, like Devil Child springs to mind. And there's some that are like uber surrealist, like the very last one, which is just wacky, with the Hideo Apamoto is in it as well. And it's pretty cool. But anyway, like it's just everyone's so different. It's like, how do I compare these? And then there's some that are general kind of giant monster fare. And then there's some that are, alien invasion fare. Like it's just very different. So, and also like, it's cool because, and I think this is kind of the thesis of like my Ultra Q, like where it fits is like, it's so important because it's that linchpin between like older Toho. Cause you have all these actors that were important in Toho, in the 60s and stuff. They show up in Ultra Q. Yeah. And then you also see like early debuts of people that would go on to play big roles in Ultraman, Ultra 7, Return of Ultraman, Mirrorman, all this. Like, so it's like, you see, like a Hiroshi Koizumi and Hideo Yapamoto and stuff. You'll see those guys doing roles. Of course, Kenji Sahara's the star. And like, you also see like a young, what's his name? The dude that played Shin Hayata, I forgot his name. Karube, I forgot his first name. Anyway, like you'll see him in there, and you'll see Ben Furuya, and you'll see all these guys that will be huge roles in Tokusatsu in the next year. And so it's kind of cool. It's kind of that middle ground of like this. The end of the road for some of these Toho legends and kind of the start of these Tokusatsu television stars that come out from Subaraya. So I don't know. I love Ultra Q's great. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, it is good. Yeah. And I feel like it's something we talk about a lot on here, even though we've never really done like a dedicated.
What's that important? It's so important, and it was like, it's been really fun going back and like watching some of these. I've watched some of these episodes 2 or 3 times in the last month, because as I kind of like, is this one really better than that one? And of course,
you have to watch them back to back. I
know, right? And then you have those wacky, the really wacky episodes with like the grow up turtle, and Kanagon's Cocoon. Obviously, those two are always known as like, what did I just watch? What the hell? But it's great. It's a great show.
Yeah, I'm excited about that, Jay. Let's see. Before we go on to what we bought, just because it's on my mind, talking about watching that stuff, and I just want to say I rewatched Gorgo on Tubi.
Okay.
And I own it, but I was like, it's on streaming. I don't have to set anything up.
I have to walk all the way over
It's
to my
free
VHS
on streaming. Yeah, I don't want to do this. But I realized that Tubi has a huge amount of monster movies and kaiju movies, and it's got a bunch of Godzilla stuff. It's got a bunch of Gamera, a bunch of like American, a lot of Harryhausen stuff. Like Jack the Giant Killer, like just tons. And I was just scrolling through, like Reptilicus is on there, and I'm just like scrolling. And I was like, holy fuck, Tubi is stacked with kaiju. And I just think that's awesome. So anybody who wants to watch some free monster movies, Tubi has got a lot.
And then you couple that with Pluto, which ties into the Shout app for Shout Factory.
Yeah,
because you have Pluto Shout, and you have all the Ultraman stuff and Kamen Rider.
And doesn't Pluto have the channel where it's just like there's like a 24-hour channel of basically Ultraman stuff, and it's showing whatever. You can't really choose, but it's just constantly showing Ultraman mainly. But it's
because of their tie-in with the Shout Factory and tokusatsu. It's kind of their branded channel that I believe that floods into there. But yeah, so like between Tubi and Pluto, you have your kind of overarching tokusatsu genre covered. Yeah. There's no excuse.
No.
And then some of the obscure stuff, it's going to be on YouTube, or it's going to be on like the Internet Movie Archive or one of those. Like you can find it. I promise.
It's just usually sites like Tubi, you're like, yeah, it's all free, but it's usually junk. You're not finding movies you really want to watch on Tubi, but there is a lot of good kaiju on there. So
100%.
Jay, what'd you buy?
Ooh, I got a couple things.
Okay,
I bought a few. It wasn't a huge. It was a really good week. Let me rephrase that. But it wasn't as big as last week. But so tying into both obscure tokusatsu and trying to find things. One thing you won't find. So there was in 1978? Oh, I can't remember. It's either 72 or 78. Anyway, there was a tokusatsu show called Great UFO War Fight Red Tiger. So,
all right,
that's three declarative statements there. Lots of punctuation, a lot of exclamation points. That was aired for one season, and unfortunately, there's only footage from 5 of them that still exist. Obviously, none of them have been translated or anything. And now it could be a Space Monster Wong Mogwai situation where maybe it exists. Nobody knows where it is, right? It's in a box somewhere, but we don't know. But Medicom released an awesome Sofubi back in 2015-ish, I think it was, of the Red Tiger, the main guy. And they also like the giant robot battle fortress that is like a main component of the story, apparently. But I loved it because this guy looks like, I don't know, like Evel Knievel and a NFL football player mixed with a tokusatsu star. It's amazing. Look at this guy. This is Red Tiger. Look at Red Tiger.
Oh boy,
there. Looks he has a football
Power
with
Ranger.
I know, with the visor, and he has the Kamen Rider scarf. This guy is freaking amazing. But yeah, I mean, he's
cool.
Very, very obscure. Property, but I love it. The what is it called? Rambaro, the giant robot fortress, is like 14 inches tall. It's huge, but this guy is like your normal 9 inches tall. Good Sofubi, but Medicom does good stuff, and I'm just was thrilled that they decided to do Great UFO War.
It's a good looking toy. I don't know anything about it. It's a good looking toy.
Me neither.
Never heard of it before 2 minutes ago, but I love it.
Yeah, I'm just a couple minutes ahead of you. The other thing that
it's crazy how you can see a toy of something and just be like, I have no fucking. I used to be in like it's like kind of the thing where maybe I used to think this way, where it's like I wouldn't buy a toy from something I didn't know or I wasn't familiar with, even if I thought the toy was cool. But Sofubi is different, and it's like almost like the gateway into watching something. I have a couple. I think I've showed them to you before whenever I found it, but like I have pictures on my phone of some, you know, vinyl figures or Sofubi where I'm like, I have no idea what this is from. It is from something. It's not made up.
Yeah.
You know, maybe I found it and I'm like, never heard of this in my life, but I feel like I need this toy, you know? So that's a fun thing.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, crossing that bridge into like, to me, I always like, well, I'm not going to own this as a toy unless it has a connection to me.
Mm-hmm.
And most of that is through a media property, right? And, you know, nostalgia plays a big part into it, of course, but there's a lot of stuff that have no nostalgia. But then as you start taking chances and like buying toys that like, I don't know much about this property, I'm going to buy it. And then eventually like, this is a custom toy, but like, I just love it. Like, you get to a point where it's like, I just love how this thing looks. Like, it makes me happy being on my shelf because it's cool. And I don't,
which is the point of a toy in the first place, right?
100%.
So,
yeah, I mean, think about like when we were growing up, like how the toys were better than the cartoon. Like, what do you tell me? Would rather watch G.I. Joe or have my G.I. Joe toys or Masters of the Universe? Like, no, the toys, obviously. And so it's just funny that like when we get older, that kind of switches. And now to some degree, it's a little bit switched back where, you know, these are like my little pieces of art, right? I got that because it looks cool. Yeah. I didn't know when I bought it if it was a real show or not. I didn't know if it was like a made up, like, oh, they're saying it's from a lost tokusatsu show. No, it really was. But I was like, that guy is like he should be like on a fighting with alongside Kamen Rider, but he has a football helmet with a visor on it. It's amazing. And a scarf. But so that was my first pickup. It was totally kind of an impulse, like, well, I need to know about this. The other things are Shocker. No, not the Kamen Rider villain, but Shocker as in no surprise here. I got some more 89. So this one, for those keeping score at home, are numbers 71, 72, 73, and 74.
Ooh, we are getting
I remember
close.
when we got number 1, and I was like, I might get a couple of these.
I remember when you were like at 50, and you were like, I'm done. Yeah. Like at 50, yeah.
Now they're good ones.
Let's see them, man. What do you got?
Okay, so here's the first one. He is a translucent yellow, clear yellow.
Love that. Yep. Yeah. Mountain Dew. That's the Mountain Dew 89.
It is Mountain Dew 89, and now like I'm looking at kind of the blank, the unpainted clears. I mean, you have pink and orange and just clear, and blue and green. Like it's getting like almost like full rainbow. It's gonna be pretty badass.
Yeah.
The next one, so I've had this other one at the store in the 95 sculpt, the same colorway. It's a glow in the dark, and it's in the 89 they've done this clear with the same spray, the same metallic blue spray in silver, but they made this one glow in the dark.
Yeah,
and so I got that one, and it has a great glow. It's a really beautiful piece. I really like it. The blue and silver they do on these, and they've done these in couple different colorways, like with it once again clear. They've done it with a blue, kind of a greeny blue base. It always looks good. There's just something about it. I don't know if because we naturally think of Godzilla with the spines with silver and the blue with kind of the irradiated look. There's something kind of warm and fuzzy about it that's like makes it feel like home. And this is a really cool release of it.
Yeah, I love those.
The next two are kind of totally new colorways. They're not like they're not builds on other ones. They're totally new. This is really cool. This is a blue with kind of almost like a burnt orange coppery spine. So look at this. So he's blue with the silver, but then his spines are this kind of coppery.
Oh, it's like rust. It looks like rust.
Yeah. So he's really, and the red eyes really pop on him. It's a really good look. And they actually did one with an even darker blue that's almost like a purple, but the same kind of concept there with the same rust.
That's like an ashy looking.
Yeah, it really. That's a great call. It's like ash with a little bit of like almost like a blue, a graphite and ash mix. It's really, really, really cool. Look at these guys and brothers. But they are. I love these. These the copper tinted dorsal spines are really, really cool.
I know it's got to be exciting when they come out with ones like that are so different, because so many of those are like.
Yeah,
the uninitiated might look at them and be like, "That's the same figure. They've already done this." Some of them are so
and the
close
initiated would say that too.
They wouldn't know. But those are cool,
I just
man.
like to. So they obviously there's so many that are unpainted kind of blank one colors. There's the clears, there's the glitters, there's the marbles.
I still like those. I still like those pastel.
Me too.
Ones that look like candles. Those are
yeah. But then when they came out with the other one the other day, those 3 red glitter ones that I showed off with kind of the blues and the yellows and the purples and the red glitter base. I love those because they're just different.
Yep.
So yeah, how about you, man? What'd you get this week?
I got a toy.
You teased last time.
I got one thing. Yeah, it came in. I talked about it last time. It came in right after the show. And then it's been 2 weeks. I almost forgot to pull it out. I was like, I'm sitting here and I was like, man, I got to step it up because I don't ever have, Jay's always got so many things and I never got anything. And then I'm like, hold on. I got a pretty big toy over the weekend.
Well, and also you do a show that's all total toy collecting. So it's like, I mean, it's not really a fair thing.
Yeah, I'm like,
if I was on that show, I wouldn't have anything ever.
That's my problem. Is that I've noticed there's so many different kind of collectors, and there's a lot of people who collect Godzilla and Sofubi like only collect Godzilla and Sofubi. Yeah. And if you're watching this and not listening, you can see the room I'm in is full of toys, and there's no Sofubi in this shop because the Sofubi are all on this wall here. Yeah, like they're all on the opposite side. The problem is that I collect too many things.
Yeah, you do.
Anyway, I did get over the weekend. Picked this bad boy up. I got another of these Star Ace.
Yes.
Harryhausen, Valley of Gwanji. This is my most anticipated one. I was waiting on this one. I kind of messed up and I let it it kind of slipped my mind. I let it sell out like an idiot. And then I was like, oh, I didn't get Gwanji. Valley of Gwanji is my favorite. Mm-hmm. And then over at Awesome Collector, he had some warehouse finds and this was one, and I picked him up.
Look at that guy.
And there he is. Gwanji. This is great. I love it.
And you know how you talked about, maybe some of the Harryhausen pieces can transition to like kind of the non-toy rooms to be like signature pieces. I definitely think Gwanji fits in that category.
Yeah, I definitely want to, I've been working with some rearranging and getting stuff into the living room, and I definitely want to maybe put some of these figures in there. He's got the wing here, which is magnetic. It magnets right in. And then it's also got the base, which is just the rest of that dinosaur, and he kind of sits like this. But yeah, dude, I love this. I don't know if they've done any of the other. It'd be cool if they've done the other, like the Styracosaur, or
I think they did.
Did they do that already? It was
the Styracosaurus. Yeah, I think they do. I can double check that. Let's fact check Jay on the spot.
I would love to get that.
I think they did.
Man, it'd be cool to pick that up. It'd be cool if they did the little miniature, the little mini horse, dude. It'd be so cool.
I might be thinking about. I think I might be thinking about that. I know they did the Triceratops from.
Well, they did, yeah.
But
they did.
I thought they did the Styracosaurus. Well, maybe I'm wrong. I don't see it. I knew it was one of the Ceratopsians. I just didn't know which one.
Yeah, I know they did the Triceratops for 1 million BC, and they also did the other one of the other dinosaurs from that. But for Gwanji, right. I think this was it.
Yeah, they did the Ceratosaurus, I know, from 1 million years BC as well.
Yes.
Yep, they didn't. They have not done it. So so there we go. Get on the horn. Let's get a Styracosaurus.
Let's do it. I need it. And, I love it.
And maybe is the premium. You'll get all of the little cowboys trying to rope the Gwanji and stuff in there. With all
my god, that would be
the most difficult scene ever to shoot of all time.
That would be cool, or even just like there's the scene where they all rope the like pterodon. That would be cool. I know we got a dead one here, but like that would be cool to have that. Yeah, dude, I want all the Valley of Gwanji stuff. I want.
You need the Eohippus. You have to come with a little Eohippus.
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah, a little mini horse dude. It would be great. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that'd be great.
That's my only pickup though. That's my only kaiju pickup.
That's a darn good one, man.
Listen, sometimes people think my pickups are light, but it's because I've spent way more money on like vintage Lord of the Rings figures this week. So, and they're not.
I don't think anybody thinks that. Believe me, I don't think they do because we've seen some of your crazy pickup weeks. But yes, they also know that your Star Wars hot toys, your vintage Lord of the Rings.
It's a lot of stuff. I mean, I also did get a Star Wars hot toy in the same.
I know. That's why I brought that thing up.
Yeah.
And
So,
those aren't cheap, man. Those aren't cheap. That's
no,
X
dude.
plus and then some in most.
I think that one cost more than the Guanji did. The hot toy.
What I've found, and I think another reason why it's been even harder for me to stay away is if you get the Star Ace, the Harryhausen stuff, like when it comes out, and you get like, it's such a good value for what you get. Like it's great.
Yeah.
It's just when you wait for it and like you have to pay secondhand or when one pops up or whatever, like that's when it gets a little tricky. Now the big ones like the Kraken stuff are always going to be expensive.
Well, it's weird. It's weird though, because sometimes Sideshow will like sneak up. When I bought Ymir and the Rhedosaurus, it was buy one get one half off on Sideshow. And it's because and it's weird. It's like people want the Kraken and people buy the Clash of the Titans stuff, but some of the lesser known stuff, it's like people are buying it less. So I guess like I think the 1 million BC figures last time I looked, I think were 20% off on there because they're I think they're probably just sitting.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It's weird, but yeah, the hot toy shit, you got to buy it immediately, or you're never gonna. I have like 5 hot toys on pre-order, and like they're not coming out for like 2 years. It's like you just forget, and then one day you start getting charged $50 a month, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Oh, it's a hot toy.
I also I think that another one that we forgot that I really want them to do is the Hydra from Jason and the Argonauts. I think that'd be
that'd be great.
Really cool. Oh man, am I going to start collecting Harryhausen stuff?
Dude, you should. I saw that
bad influence, man.
I saw that they had put out. You remember in Seventh Voyage of Sinbad when the one girl like wants to be beautiful and they turn her into like a snake?
Yeah.
Dancer.
Yeah,
they did a figure of that, and I was like, this fucking looks amazing.
Yeah,
like it looks so cool. I forget what she's called, but yeah, it's all so good.
Because I mean, they did like the homunculus, and they did all these weird ones, and it just all looks like great. Oh yeah, this dancing snake lady is that's a great scene, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
And they did the Minotaur. I think they did the Minotaur, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start. Oh my gosh, no,
man. I mean, I'm still thinking about jumping in and buying one of those Cyclops figures because I'm scared I'm scared the next thing they release is gonna be the dragon that the Cyclops fights.
Yeah,
and I'm like, well, that is a display that I need.
Yeah. And then that thing,
like,
they're going to
buy the Cyclops now before it goes out.
Yeah, or they're going to jack the price up on the ones that are left because they know people want to complete the set.
Maybe they'll bundle them. Maybe they'll put them together. That'd be cool.
Oh gosh, yeah. If I can find something to stop collecting or get rid of, then maybe. But I don't.
What are you talking about? You just made a whole shelf of space getting rid of the Ninja Turtles.
I did, but those are going to be for overflow. So I have some
8989s are going in there.
I know, yeah, exactly. Because as the 8989s move over, that Sofubi has to go somewhere. And I've moved. It's just all transitioning around the room. I mean, I literally had 4 Marathon 450s. I had the 450 89, the Gigan, a Biolante. I had 5. I had a Hedera and a Jaguar, literally just sitting on top of my arcade game up here. Like it doesn't have a real shelf. So like if I try to play the arcade, those things are coming down. I just had nowhere else to put them. So they'll go on the top of the Detolfs that I cleared that normally had the street scene diorama from NECA. That's gone. So I'll have a place to put that. And that giant Ultra 7 that I bought from my warehouse still, I gotta find a place for that. It's getting a little crazy, but yeah, I'm trying to make it where I have a spot for 8989s because I don't have the shelving for. I'm already like 7 or 8 that I don't have space for, so I got to keep clearing.
I get it,
so,
dude.
I don't know.
I bought a couple of these things from IKEA.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I was inspired by you because you have a lot of similar shelves like this that look really good hanging on the wall. The only issue is that IKEA only makes them this width.
Yeah.
Which I think is probably, I don't know, 4-5 inches, maybe. It's not
Yeah.
huge. It's not as big as you want for kaiju.
Tails.
You did send me a link where I could get better ones, but I was at IKEA. They had these. I bought a couple of them, but I think I'm gonna maybe put them not with the kaiju stuff, but over here, and maybe put like vintage toys, like Kenner toys, stuff like that, because those don't need 5 inches of space to put on. Like those will fit on here just fine. But I do have room for some kaiju ones on this wall where all the kaiju is. I just need to buy them and put them up, I guess.
I get mine from the Container Store. For those that are interested in, they go to about 8 inches. You can get like 24 by 8, which is great for Godzillas. They're perfectly fine for Sofubi, but actually you can get them. They're 12 inches deep as well, but they don't go out as wide. It's almost like it's not necessarily a square, but it's I think it's 12 by 18, 12 by 24.
Way smaller.
I have those, and especially if you're going to you can like stack layers if you get some acrylic stands on the acrylic base. The only issue with that, if it's anything that's heavy, those typically do dip, even with like the best anchors and everything, unless you put some like brackets under it. So Sofubi are usually pretty good because it's light, but if you're planning on putting like get the big acrylic 12-inch deep ones and put like a play set on there, it might not hold. But I love the acrylic shells because they don't take up a lot of room, and you don't see them when you're just glancing at the wall, which I think it's usually pretty good. So I like them, but I need some more. I'm actually gonna have to do. I think to do the 89s, I think I'm gonna have to put like 2 shelves, one that's literally this far off the floor, just because to make it go up the ceiling. It's gonna be wacky, but we'll figure it out, man. Hey,
you're gonna make it happen.
I'm gonna make it happen. Yeah.
Cool. We're gonna move on from that. I think we got a good bit of news, Jay. I know you got some slides you're gonna pull up. We're gonna talk about some festivals, some Gamera stuff. Well, what do you got for us?
We have news in it. I mean, Superfest 85 happened, so we got to talk about that. Yeah. And then, of course, we'll talk about Gamera first because big news coming out there. Like, we had the official release date, but it was tentative. It's like it's not really official, is it? But anyway, it's targeting September 7th. It could change by the time this airs. Who knows? But at least we kind of have a rough idea when we're going to be seeing this this bad boy, Gamera against these 5 kaiju. So early September, not that far away.
Yeah, it's coming up. I'm excited about it. And we got our first reveal of Zigra here.
Whew, yeah. I know the Jiger was a little bit polarizing. I loved it. Yeah. I know Gauss was like, the only negative comments were like it's just kind of like, okay, not a huge change. Kind of like what they did with Rodan almost.
Yeah.
Gamera, I think, was met with mostly positive stuff. Zigra is interesting. I haven't noticed a lot of negative stuff on this, but not necessarily a lot of positive. It's been kind of like, well, we don't really know. We can't see enough of him to make a comment. But I'm very intrigued with how what is Zigra actually look like, because this little silhouette, little shadow thing, it like opens up a lot more questions and answers, and I love it.
Yeah, I've definitely seen some people are like, well, this looks nothing like the original Zigra. And I'm like, well, it kind of does. It looks like it's got the same head shape. It looks like he's got a fin possibly in the middle of his back there. Yeah. We see he's got legs and a tail. They just changed the shape of his fin. They changed the shape of his like arm fin. If he stands up, he could very well look a lot like the old Zigra. We don't know.
And if he doesn't, who cares?
Yeah, who cares? Cool. I think the only thing that's really important to Zigra is that he looks kind of shark-ish. He's got fins and he's got that cool head. And this looks like he's got both of those things. So I'm excited about Zigra. Zigra is one of my favorite designs for original Gamera. So I'm glad Zigra is not one of the ones that got left out of the 5 kaiju. So
now we're down to there's 3 left that we don't know, or 2 left that we don't know, and there's 3. It's Viras, Barugan, and Giron, right? Yeah, because we know Gauss, we know Jiger, we know Zigra.
Unless they pull like a fastball and the main kaiju is not an original
one of them
Gamera
kaiju. Maybe Viras is just like a regular old alien or something,
Yeah, it's just there's definitely like we're assuming that it's only going to be Showa creatures because that's what they've showed us so far. But it's possible there could be a made up. There could be a new kaiju. There could be something from Heisei. We don't. Who knows? It's probably going to be Showa era, but
that would be where my money's at. But I'm really rooting for them to redesign on Gyron. I really want to see that giant knife head, what he looks like.
Yeah,
I think it'll be really, really cool if to updated look at him. And also, do they give him the shuriken stars to shoot out of his head? I mean, come on, they have to do that.
They will, but
I know. I'm excited. I don't know. It is an anime. They do wacky stuff.
Yeah, it's possible.
So far I've been very pleased with everything we've seen of this. I'm really excited. I think I'm gonna get even more excited as we get closer.
Same.
To this anime, and like it's just good to see that damn turtle back on the screen, any screen of any size, anywhere. I'm just happy to see him back on the screen.
I agree. I miss Gamera. Yeah, this would be good. I'm excited about this. I'm ready to see maybe a full trailer, probably soon.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So we will go into toys because that's what we like to talk about a lot is toy news.
Toy.
And we'll talk Superfest 85. A lot of good reveals here, but it was funny. X Plus, which whether it's Wonderfest or Superfest or whatever, they usually have a huge showing. They didn't really. There wasn't a lot of new news. Really, the only thing that really stood out was the prototype for the Godzilla 74 favorite sculptors line, 30 centimeter. It's based on one of the old Monster Maker 28 kits to pair with your favorite sculptors line Mechagodzilla that you should already have, guys. Everybody should have that 30 centimeter.
Every household.
I know you have to have these, but now we're gonna get the Megara Goji here, in the 74 against 74 Mechagodzilla. And that looks awesome. I mean, the prototype looks great. I know it'll be painted. It's X Plus. We know kind of the levels of its consistency. It's always good.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be really cool next to that Mechagodzilla. Very cool stuff.
Yeah, I agree. It's a cool toy. Listen, I can't say this about X Plus because one just came out in the last couple of years, but still not enough Megalon stuff happening for me, and it worries me for what's happening for Megalon's 50th anniversary. But this toy, this is a great figure. I've always liked 74 Godzilla. So.
They're skipping Megalon.
They better not, dude. I'm getting annoyed.
It's what bad luck for poor Jet and Megalon to like their 50th happened to be when they have a new Toho Godzilla film coming out. Yeah. Oh, taking up all the bandwidth there. But so X Plus was actually pretty light on Superfest, which was crazy because we're just so used to having like 8 releases.
Yeah.
But Marasan, on the other hand, was not. They're like
coming for you, Jay. These are all coming for you. Hold on. What? Yeah. I have not seen some of these. What is happening?
So here we go. We got the first on the far left are the 3 new colorways for the Lucky Bag. So these are all 350 series. There's the 2 new 89s. The one on the top is very similar to the one I showed you today, but has more silver. Yeah. And you have one that's kind of the Bullmark colors, which I know you hate. But that's the 95 in Bullmark.
I don't like them. Yeah,
I know. And then another one that's kind of a brown and a kind of a foresty green. It looks kind of like the colors from the Bullmark 70 Godzilla, the giant Godzilla, almost that green and yellowy brown stuff. Very cool stuff. Then they said those are all going to be Lucky Bags, painted Lucky Bags. And then you have 2 more 450 89s. They've done already a couple colorways. And Jake, I've only bought the first one and I haven't bought any more. So I'm staying true to that. I just don't have room, but they're doing 2 cool colorways for 89 here. Both those kind of vintage style colorways. And then they're doing some more Maragacha Lucky Bags where you get a Lucky Bag, you get some of these cool sets of the Maragachas, and they're doing some neon translucent pinks, some blues. That blue Destroya in the second row there is awesome. And some clear green, some really cool stuff here. But Marasan definitely had a pretty damn good showing at Superfest, at least with some new colorways.
Yeah, I love these. I just wish the Maragachas weren't Maragachas. I want those in full size Sofubi, like the whole set of the green translucents there, the I want that Biolante full size, but like that. I want all these. These
They
are great.
do have that Biolante in 450. I think it's I think they do have one. It might be a little bit darker translucent green, but they do have that one. Jet, they have a lot of the translucents in 450, but I don't think they have green. That would be really cool.
Yeah, they're cool. Those are all. I love all those weird little colorways that they got on those. Yeah,
Maragacha line is also one that's like it would be so easy to start collecting, but like you look down and you have like 600 of them.
Yeah, they're just. I got a love-hate relationship with the tiny Sofubi. It's like I want it and it's easier to obtain, but it's too small.
It's very small. It looks good. You have to go all in. Like it looks cool if you have a
ton of it,
a shelf of like 100 of them. Like that's cool. It's almost like
maybe I'm gonna.
It's almost like one. It's almost like one piece of art, right?
Right. You need a lot to make it.
Like I do the 89s. You have to have 89 or it doesn't even count.
Like it would be really, really impressive if you did just exactly what you're doing with your 89s. If you just picked one sculpt and just said, "I'm doing this. I'm going to buy a ton of these." Yeah. All right.
Yeah, for sure. But hey, it wasn't just Marathon and X Plus. We had CCP there, more of their middle size. I just feel they are just hammering us with new colorways all the time. They did their version of Sakura Mochi there with the pink and the green, with Godzilla, and then they did a really cool like silvery purple and green Hedera. These are the middle size, so these are like the 5-inch ones. Bigger than a Maragacha, bigger than a US Toy building box series, but not quite that 8 or 9-inch Sofubi that you typically see. M1 gave us a new Balton tricycle series. Always good to see a new tricycle out there. Love Balton. And then US Toys, they did a like pretty Canagon heavy Superfest. They released 2 new from their shampoo series, which are like shampoo bottles. Yeah. And then they did a couple new releases from their building box series, 2 Canagons, including a sitting one. But I actually really love the King Joe and the Goro there. Especially that pink Goro. Very cool. I love US Toys. They do so much good stuff, whether it's the bigger shampoo series or kind of the building box 3-inch ones. They're just so cool. And they had a pretty good showing at Superfest as well.
Yeah, all their stuff is good. This is all cool. I really like that weird pink and green translucent Godzilla. Yeah. US Toy, I've never seen anything from US Toys that I didn't want immediately.
Yeah. It's once again, it's that, $100, $50, $75, whatever for a 3-inch figure. It's one of those like, when you start, it's almost a little bit like a more expensive Maragacha in the fact that you want to collect so many of them because you want it to be a full display, not just like one random US Toy amidst these giant foot tall Sofubi. And then, so Superfest was huge, had a lot of great stuff. And there was some other stuff from Dream Planet and some more like kind of indie focused designer vinyl toy companies there. But Marathon, because, they don't release anything ever, right? They had they participated in the 6th Mandarake Creative Sofubi Rally. And they had a couple really big releases and you got some Megalon. So
this is a good one too.
Yeah, their individual releases, so you could buy these separately, was a 450 Biolante in what they're dubbing shocking pink. So it's very shocking. And then they did this kind of black and that coppery color with some red spray as well of King Ghidorah, the 350 series. So that's a beautiful sculpt, a really cool paint app colorway. And they extended that colorway to other 350s, the Megalon and Godzilla in their 350 painted lucky bag. So very cool stuff. You can grab those 2. And I will have some of those Megalons on Tokyo Toy Town. Okay, I know for sure they're coming down. But really cool. Go ahead.
I said we'll talk.
Oh yeah. They also did another Maragacha lucky bag. It had a little bit, of a wider array of some, Biolante, Rose Form, Rodan. You had a little bit more variety there.
Yeah, I really love that. I really love that pink and blue Godzilla.
Yeah. Really good stuff.
Good, man.
And then they also had an unpainted lucky bag, and they did a unpainted red sparkle 89, which is very similar to the red sparkle 89 they've released, but this is unpainted. And then an unpainted from our favorite movie, Space Amoeba, Yog. You get the rock shrimp, whatever technically he is, what's his name, Ganame, there as well to fight Gezera and Kamibus. So you get a nice space amoeba release as part of this. So Marasan not messing around. They're going with the heavy hitters and got him.
Yeah.
So
these are cool.
The Creative Rally,
they're cool. Some good stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And then last, I wanted, when we're talking toys, I did want to give a Gorgo update because we did have a little bit of news. They showed off some of the prototype and everything at All Monsters Attack in Chicago this past week. Yeah. And I know there was a lot of commentary around it, but it was cool to finally see the first iteration of the figure and some of these accessories, the Big Ben and the diving bell and all that other stuff. The jet, I think, was there as well. And it was cool. And you're very familiar with kind of the toy making industry from your time at YHS and Toy Anxiety and working and talking to, all these bigwigs at the Hasbros and NECAs of the world. And, it's not we design it, we put it out, and there it's done. It's an iterative process for a new toy and everything, especially for these indie toys and stuff. So was it perfect right out of the gate? Of course not. But I feel that Titanic Creations have done enough good toys with their own line that I feel really confident that what we're going to get is going to be really good. But I was actually encouraged by what I saw released at All Monsters.
Yeah. What are people complaining about? Is it just the paint? Are people complaining about the paint application? Yeah. I mean, I can look at this and say this paint job kind of sucks, but it's a prototype. This is the prototype. Other than that, it looks cool. I like this toy. I like it's getting a big bend. God, I wish this toy was coming in before. I wish I had a Gorgo toy before I was going to London, so I could bring it and take little pictures. Oh man. Yeah, I'm excited. When's this supposed to come out? I know it's going to be a while because October. Yeah. I think it's cool. I love that this is making its way through. Last I looked, I don't know when the last time you checked, but I think we still haven't reached the light up eyes. No. I don't know when that is ending. I don't know when the pre-order is ending. And you know what? The light up eyes to me is my least. I don't care about light up eyes. It's the least thing I want. I want all of the other stuff that we're already getting. So I'm glad we're getting a Big Ben. We're getting actual Gorgo and Gorgo's mother. I'm excited about it. And you know what? Like even if it came like this with this kind of paint job, how many other Gorgo toys are there?
Yeah,
it's $100. It's a fucking. I feel like it's not an. I feel like I should send them more money. Should we send them more money? Because I feel like $100 is kind of cheap for like a 6-inch, 12-inch long, 26 POA. All this stuff you're getting. Like this is a lot of stuff, and it's a toy that nobody else is doing. I know that there's some Sofubi out there, but there's not a lot of. There's not. A big well for Gorgo.
No. It'll get right. It'll be fine. I'm very, like I said, optimistic about it. And you're right. They're at 675 as of yesterday. So yesterday was Tuesday. So we're 75 away from that last one. But for me, it's more just like, I think that's cool that they could hit all their stretch goals on the first one. So like, I'm just rooting for them to do it. But the light up eyes exactly 100% aligned with you. That's the least important to me. But the other thing that I don't know if you saw was Matt Frank, the great kaiju artist, designed a plush that they are doing a special release on Mother's Day for. They're doing that's amazing. 150. Yeah, 150. Yeah, and it looks great. I mean that is like perfect. So he designed it for the plush, and like I said, they're going to pre-order on Titanic Creations. I think 150 is what they're limiting it at, and hopefully they'll do a larger run later if it sells through. But I mean, I want a Gorgo plush. I mean, it looks so good. Yeah,
I just like that they're going with the whole Mother's Day thing and doing it on. That's such a fun little gimmick. Yeah, I'm gonna buy one for my mom, and she's gonna be like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah, you give me a lizard. Yes, but anyway, so I think it's gonna get close. I think it'll be. I think 750 still within range. It's only 75 away.
Sure, that's not a lot. Yeah,
no, but yeah. So I'm just excited to have this. Put it on the shelf next to my M1 Gorgo, and we'll go from there. Got to give Gorgo's mom and Gorgo some love. Yeah. So that is it from news perspective.
Well, that's cool. That's fine. It works out because now we can talk about Gorgo. Listen, we talked about this movie.
Did it last for a reason, man?
Yeah, did it last? So we can go right into Gorgo. Like I was saying earlier, I like this movie. I think it's cool. Like
The end.
Yeah, I mean, there aren't many issues that I have with it, and I'll tell you what is it even my main issue? When I watch it, there's something about Gorgo's and Gorgo's mother's design that comes across to me as, I don't want to use the word cheap, but there's something about the design of Gorgo that is off to me, and I think it's the
hands too big.
It's not just the hands though. It's the hands are too big, the legs are small, the neck is really thick, and the head of it, Gorgo's head, looks like an Imperial Godzilla that they just put the wings on. Like it looks a lot like Imperial Godzilla. And I love Gorgo, and ultimately I like the design, but there's something up with the proportions of the suit. It's weird, and it's like it's the only thing that when I'm watching Gorgo, I'm like, if the suit was a little better, this would be fucking awesome. Yeah, it's already fucking awesome, but like that's my nitpick, is that I wish the suit was a little better.
Yeah. It doesn't bother me as much because it is so different. Even the proportions are different than a lot of the stuff that we see. But I don't disagree with you. I don't know. It's hard for me. Goes back to the whole thing of where, like, when some movies are bad, they're charming. When some movies are bad, they're just bad. It's like, there's some designs that, like, it doesn't bother me because, like, it's
sure
a kaiju movie with a limited budget in the 1960s, and then sometimes it's like, oh, I hate it, it's so terrible. So for me, this is one that's like, it doesn't bother me or take me out of it. And I don't know if I have any. I have some questions like that aren't like they're not good or bad. They're just like, I'm curious how this impacts most people's thoughts. The only thing that for me that really was, and this is like even a nittier pick than yours, was there are some wacky, like weird scenes where they're like cut really short. I don't know if it's an editing thing, but they're like, there was one that I was watching. They're on the boat. It's when they capture Gorgo and they're bringing him over, and they're like, the scientists go in and they show them for like looking at Gorgo literally for like 1 second. They cut away to something else. Like there's some like weird like choppiness on that. But that's like, oh my gosh, like if I'm comparing this to, Citizen Kane, which none of us are.
Right.
But it's, I just don't, there's just, this movie to me in the world of kaiju is like, it's so steady. Like it's just, there's nothing so bad in this that you kind of have to like look the other way. Like even great kaiju movies like Godzilla versus Biollante, you still even have the boing scene, right? And this one like doesn't have any of those scenes where I'm just like, oh, we'll just go back to the next scene, So I like that. I think it's just very steady. It's just very kind of like, it's really good. And
I agree with that. I did laugh whenever I was watching it. And whenever they decide to catch Gorgo, and their plan is like, it's so funny. So the one dude is like in the diving bell, and he's just looking for Gorgo, finds Gorgo, and he's just like, "Hey, I found him! Throw the net in the water." And they just like blindly, they don't see, they just throw a net, and it captures Gorgo. And I'm just like, oh. Is a good call. You just catch him with a net. Just throw a net over and he's caught, and that's it. I loved that because it's clearly it was clearly a case of like, all right, how do we get this animal from here to here? How do we catch him? We'll just throw a net over him. Make something up. Just throw a net. He's smaller, he's manageable. And then they're like, oh, we pumped him with some drugs. He's fine. He's out.
Yes, that plot convenience there is pretty.
But that's nothing against it. I just thought it was very funny. When I was a kid, the thing that I liked a lot about Gorgo is that whenever Gorgo's mom shows up, well, the first time I saw that, it blew my mind.
Mm.
I was like, there's a bigger one, you know? I was like, there's two.
Yeah.
I loved it, and when I was rewatching it, it made me kind of wish they didn't put in right before Gorgo's mom shows up. There's a scene where a scientist goes, "This ain't a full grown.
Yeah, it's
There's another one up here." I wish they wouldn't have done that. I wish it was more of a surprise, and it was just like, you're just like,
that's a good call.
Whoa, what's happening? There's another one. You know, it would have been a cooler reveal if you see it for the first time before they tee it up like that.
100%. I never thought of it that way. I guess it's been so long, you kind of know the story. It's like you don't think about, you aren't going to rewatch it for the first time ever again.
Yeah.
And that's actually a really good point. I never thought of it. That would be cool. Once again, though, like a small, it could have been better if that's the worst thing,
it's not. Listen, I'm not saying anything bad. It's just something I noticed watching it today that I never picked up on before.
So I have a question for you. So do you think it helped or hurt the fact there's not really, like, from the human side, there's not a protagonist. There's nobody that's good, right?
Yeah.
And because we know the ending is, the monsters win, which never happens, which is obviously what Gorgo kind of, I think, was known for a while. Is like, it actually has a really cool ending.
Yeah.
Do you think that, like, was by design? I mean, I guess you could argue the little kid's like the only one that's truly good.
The kid's the good guy. Yeah. The kid's the good guy.
Yeah.
But he's not really a character. He's just a plot. He's just a device, And
he doesn't.
No, I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it because. Go ahead.
I would say I think that, like, to me, like, I didn't know who to root for, and so I rooted for the monster, right? And which
that's
ends
why I
up
like
being
it, Jay.
Yeah, no, right. And like, I think because knowing the ending, I think it is perfect that they do it that way, because it's like the one they really kind of force you. Now, you don't hate the people as much, they're not as, like, dastardly evil.
They're a little charming. They're charming, even though they're still kind of pieces of shit.
They're 100%, right? They're not like, they're made to be like, this could be a leading man, but he's actually, exploiting a wild animal here for profit. And then you see the other guy that kind of turned, like, we need to send him back. Like, you see enough of the human evolution within the plot, the character evolution, but none of them ever become a true good guy other than the kid, but doesn't do anything to really move the plot along. And then at the end of the day, like, you root for you're rooting for the mom to tear shit up, right? And which is crazy, but that's just, I think, pretty good filmmaking.
Well, they so the bad guy, I think, is supposed to be the guy who's kind of running he's got all the treasure. The guy who like knows Gorgo's there. Yeah, the harbor master guy. They try to make him turn out to be scummy, and it's almost as if they try to make, I can't remember anybody's names. The other two main dudes is kind of heroic by being like, well, we can take care of Gorgo for you. We'll catch him. We'll get him out of here. Yeah. But it is sort of shocking to me that in a movie from 1960 61 that the plot of the movie would be like, hey, circuses are bullshit, because as a race of people, just humans in general, we have only just now gotten to the point where collectively most humans think animals in the circus is bad.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
And there are still circuses out there that do it. So it's not even that's not a thought or a belief that 100% of the human race has. In the 60s, when circuses were a much bigger thing than they are now. It's weird. Like, you watch a lot of these old movies, it's like, so why people are always going to the fucking circus in movies? Because that used to be a bigger thing. But back then, animal cruelty was even more rampant as it is now, and they didn't. So many of the thoughts were like, It's an animal. Who cares? It's here for us to do what we want. So the fact that this movie has no clear like protagonists other than Gorgo, is I think a good thing, because you can't have a protagonist who turns out to be a piece of shit. So they're like, we're gonna take out there's definitely main characters, but we're taking out all of the inherently goodness of them, except for the child, because he's a child. And we're gonna show like how shitty it is that like we just kidnapped this creature. It's King Kong. It's kind of like King Kong. It's the King Kong thing. And we kidnapped a creature. We're making a mockery of it, throwing it in a pit and charging people to stare at it.
Horrible looking pit. They just it's
with a tiny puddle in it.
Yeah, it's like
in
an
one
empty
corner.
swimming pool. Yeah.
And then its mom's like, "Hey, you guys suck. I'm gonna come get," and I love that, because it also, when Gorgo's mom shows up, she is badass. And there is no point in the movie, when you're watching most Godzilla movies where it's just Godzilla, there's always a point where you're like, oh shit, they're gonna kill him. Godzilla's gonna die, or there's something, the Super X it's holding its own, or they're gonna freeze Godzilla. In Gorgo, the mom shows up and says fuck you to everybody and just stomps through straight to Gorgo, rescues Gorgo, and there's literally a scene where she shoots a bird. She puts her middle finger up, and she walks back into the ocean. And there's never a point where you're like, oh, they might kill Gorgo. It's just like, and there's also something that I think is rare for kaiju movies. There's lots of scenes of just humans dying in this, tons of shots of
and not
people
even
getting
all by
crushed
Gorgo.
but
on fire.
Stuff like that, lots of buildings falling on people, lots of just human bystander death, and that's why I love Gorgo.
Honestly, I think the genius of this film, and it's still I'm blindsided to this day, how this was, and I love Mystery Science Theater 3000, how this was on there, I don't know, but the genius of this film, I think, is the structure of the human characters. And like you said, I really think it's having showing you can be a charming alpha male in the 60s and still be greedy and not be slimy, but still be doing the wrong thing, right? And be doing something very, very bad. And some, the one guy's trying to change. He's like, this was wrong. He's coming to realize that. The kid at your point, and I think you don't ever latch on to a Luke Skywalker type protagonist or a Marty McFly that's good throughout the whole thing, right? And that's, I think, the genius of it and everything. And the coolest thing that I didn't know was that the guy that plays Captain Ryan, that plays the lead, he, Bill Travers spent a whole life fighting animal cruelty. That was his whole life's work. And him and his wife founded the Born Free Foundation. So they're the ones that, he traveled the world and not acting basically trying to get rid of zoos that were underfunded and treating animals poorly and upgrading them and kind of doing what the AZA does now and stuff to make sure everything has adequate housing and making sure these, people aren't randomly mistreating animals throughout the world. And so it's kind of crazy that he plays this role. Yeah. And it was his real life thing. So, very cool. And the other guy was in 2001 Space Odyssey, whatever that means.
Right.
I love the movie.
I love that about it. That's all really cool stuff, man. That's what I'm saying. I feel like sometimes we talk about movies on here that are either really hard to talk about because we just hate them. And it's this movie sucks, move on. Or it's we really like them. So it's the hands are big. Other than that, it's perfect. It's great.
Well, I think that's why on this show, some of our better conversations have been over movies like, The X from Outer Space, which is, it's objectively not a great movie, but fun. And there's things that it's so bad, it's charming and silly and goofy. And you can relive those moments. Gorgo, it's there's nothing that's silly and goofy other than, the catching with a net. But other than that, it's this is a good story that needed to be told. It was done in a definitely a unique way for 1961. And it still holds true today. And, I guess really the main protagonist, even more so than the antagonist, even more than the harbor master, is probably just the circus. And people that treat animals like crap.
Yep. It's anybody who's ever gone to a circus. You're a bad person.
Hey, I did go to when I was little, but I didn't.
I've been to a circus before too.
We didn't know in the 80s. We didn't know. I wish I didn't. I remember because it's funny. So we were at. Sorry, going to.
No, it's fine. Let's talk about how shitty circuses are.
No. Well, so I've had the pleasure of going to a couple really cool like animal sanctuaries and stuff, and we went to an elephant one in Thailand, and it was one that was like we got to bathe with the elephants, but they were telling us like these are all rescues, but even ones that rescue them, they still do things in animal tourism that are bad for the animal, right? Like, they save them from being on the street, with the one person with a metal seat on the back where like they'll have like 6 people riding the elephant and crushing its spine slowly. But still they'll do rides where people are sitting on their backs, or they'll do things that aren't great. But we're talking, it was just so sad to hear all the stories of these elephants and how they're treated, especially in a country like Thailand where animal tourism is huge, right? And people just don't know. But we were at, there's also other really cool stuff, how they like bond with their mahout and like will live with them for like 80 years and stuff. It's really cool. Anyway, but we were at the Renaissance Fair this past weekend or 2 weekends ago with my daughter and son. They were going for the first time, and it was a great time. We were walking out, and I was shocked. They had elephant rides there, and okay, like how are they doing it? Like, I mean, nothing is great, but like at least are they letting one little kid go right on the neck, as opposed to no, they had the old school circus style metal cart things right in the center of like the spine, like wow. And I felt so bad. I was just like, and of course my daughter loves animals. She's ridden camels and like whatever, like she just loves animals, and she was like so sad, and it was hard to explain to her like why that wasn't a nice thing. Those people weren't doing a nice thing for that elephant. So I think on an animal cruelty thing, but like it's still prevalent, even though there's not all the circuses that we grew up with still around. Yeah, it's still there. This
opens up such a, we're not going to get super deep into this, but this opens up such a deep discussion, because it's like, it sucks when they do that with elephants and all that, but it's like, I don't think horse riding is very good either. You know what I mean? I don't think you're hurting a horse, but it definitely translates into like, that horse doesn't want to fucking carry your ass around all the time. Like it's a weird slope of like, well, if that's bad, why is the way we fucking treat any other
100%
animal okay? It's a weird thing.
I'd almost rather him eat the elephant than ride on the back. At least that's for sustenance. No, it's bad. But I was shocked to see that. When we talk about circuses, like, because I haven't seen
it's crazy.
Here,
it's crazy that they have a Renaissance festival has an elephant. Yeah, that's fucked up.
It was. And here's the other weird thing: they were African elephants, not Asian, and so like, and obviously those are a little bit more temperamental and not typically the ones that you have at these riding ones. Yeah. They had a full. I was like,
that seems so sketchy. Well. That's so sketchy.
Yeah,
I was watching.
Not great.
I was watching a video. I follow on YouTube. There is. Oh man, I wanna say her name. If I'm gonna mention this, oh no. There is a YouTube channel I follow, and she usually talks about death stuff. I'm trying to look her up real quick.
I definitely cannot help you here.
She has a video out that's pretty recent, and it's this big account. This is so nothing to do with kaiju. Sorry, guys.
We will tie it back. So those guys, everybody that's posing their minya on the back of Godzilla and their Sofubi, don't do that.
It hurts Godzilla's back. Also,
there we go. Kaiju.
She has this video out that's like it's a story about a famous an elephant that like killed a bunch of people, and it was a circus elephant. It was like, basically tortured, and it broke out in a city, and it like went on a rampage through a city, and it hurt a bunch of people, and it like fucked up a bunch of cars, and they had to like shoot it in the street.
Yeah.
And it was like a really horrifying thing that happened. And it was just, it's all because of Ask a Mortician. That's the channel. Caitlin Doherty. She has a really cool channel. So we've always done that kind of shit to animals, and it sucks. And that's why you should go see Guardians of the Galaxy 3, because it is an animal rights film.
Yes.
And watch Gorgo, because it's
and
also
so is Gorgo.
And so Gorgo is also an animal rights film.
Yeah, very much so.
And watch, if you don't like elephants, then watch 20 Million Miles to Earth, because Ymir kills one.
or Valley of Gwangi.
Or Valley of Gwangi, yeah.
Harryhausen,
for some reason, I think Harryhausen just had a stop motion elephant and was like, just do the elephant again. Put the elephant back in the movie. We'll fight an elephant. What's big that a dinosaur can fight? An elephant.
Yeah, that like no other animal on land can beat. Okay,
this is a weird episode, Jay. We're getting deep into like weird freaking stuff.
You want to go even weirder? We got to talk about.
Hey, if it's about animal cruelty, I could sit here all day, because I don't know a lot. I don't know if any of the people listening know, but like that's stuff that's really
it is not about animal cruelty.
Okay, cool. Let's get off.
It is about, in some cases, maybe art cruelty. Let's go to a new segment that is only for this show, for this episode. Movie posters around the world. Because I know
Jay's like,
about
this is Jay saying we need to get Jake to stop talking about vegan stuff.
No, not at all.
These posters. I brought this up, Jay, because I specifically wanted to show off some of these posters because of this one with Gorgo's hand.
Yeah.
Nothing like this ever happens in the movie. There's no big, ship with people leaving it. But this is the coolest poster I've ever seen. Like, for a kaiju film, this is such a cool poster. It's such a good, simple way to show off the scale of a creature. But if I would have saw this poster and then put the movie on, and then Gorgo's pretty small, baby Gorgo's pretty small, I would have been like, hold up, look how fucking small it is. In the poster, it looks giant, until the mom shows up. But I just really wanted people to see this poster because it's so good.
So yeah, and there's another variation on it coming up. But I wanted to show like what they did with Gorgo, because I think it has a lot of cool adaptations in poster form. And of course, we always got to start in Italy, because of all the countries that do wacky posters, we know Italy's number one in that.
Mm-hmm.
And I love
Godzilla. I just noticed this one is just Godzilla.
Oh yeah, there's one that's just Godzilla. And you'll see that a lot where they just, like, other Italy especially, will just put Godzilla in for any monster. But they did a couple. I love the one where it's coming out of the water. I love that one. The second one. Yeah. Where its head's just coming out of the water. I think that's really cool. And then there's just kind of a couple other ones. The one, of course, with Godzilla. Now, I like this because other than the hand one, you don't see iterations of these in any other countries. The hand one is in one other one I will show you in a second. But I thought that the hand and the one with his head coming out of the water, her head coming out of the water, is awesome. And once again, we don't see them, about to eat a whole crew full of people in life jackets, but whatever, doesn't matter. But anyway, I thought these were really cool. Italy obviously brings the heat, but they aren't the only ones. Because here's a different version of the hand one from Israel, where he's like crushing, like it's a little bit different scene where it's not on the water. And you have some of the characters in the front there, but I thought that was a cool variation on it from Israel.
I also love that it has the scene of people like jumping out of the building. Cause when they showed that, I thought it was pretty crazy. I was like, oh my God, people are jumping to their death to avoid Gorgo. And they just put that on the poster.
Yeah. Yeah. So I thought that was cool. And then Japan is like, okay, we're just gonna
make the Japan one just looks like Godzilla 1985.
Yep, just throw in the Big Ben there. I really like this Thailand one. This one might be actually my favorite one of all of them. It's a really cool poster. I love that
Godzilla spines though.
I know, right? And And this, no, that's not the one that's blowing. There's one I think that's breathing fire in one of them. But
hey, that reminds me. That is another thing I really liked about the movie is that Gorgo has no weapon, no powers, no weird energy beams or anything. It's just gonna step on you and fuck you up. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. But I love
it. Looks like there's fire coming out of her nose in the
Maybe.
Australian version.
Yes. And the Australian one, I found one of these the thin vertical ones. They're really cool. But I thought that was some cool art. You can
I think they call them daybills.
Daybills, yes. And then you can totally tattoo some of this Gorgo art on somebody soon. And then I did skip one here. Oh, there we go. I want to go back to the first one here. So this is the base one. And I like to most of the countries got some variation of this, of different colors and stuff. I know these are kind of small, but they're the same thing. But some, it's Denmark, the Danish one, it's blowing, and the Belgian one.
6 of these are blowing fire out.
Oh, in Spain. Oh, yeah. Now I'm counting all of them. I was like,
Denmark, Belgium, Spain, Germany, and France has fire coming out of its mouth.
My gosh, so funny. I love movie posters from the 60s. But anyway, all some variation of that kind of overall design though, but done in different ways. I thought these were really cool. I mean, it's just so funny. Movie posters for Gorgo for some reason are just hilarious.
Yeah. I love them, dude.
Yeah. I think this should be a segment we do for all the movies.
That
had an international release that actually, we're probably not going to do it for, Space Monster Wong Mongui again.
I mean, we'll see. I mean,
you never know.
It's the art, the posters is always such a fun, interesting thing. The way they, some of that art looks nothing like anything in the film, and then some of it's so cool. I don't know, just like I'm always intrigued by the poster art, and it's just like another thing to buy. Buying daybills or posters or lobby cards, all that kind of shit. So
or quads like this one right behind me, the British.
Yeah, dude.
Quad, yeah. I love it.
So yeah, I love it. I love seeing all that art. Thanks for finding all that and pulling it up, and
that was
showing
so fun. Like honestly,
I knew it would. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm just saying, I never, other than what you showed me, like those posters, I was not familiar with all the posters, just the ones that you showed me, which was the hand one, right? And then you just go down a rabbit hole, man. You just go down a rabbit hole. It's like, oh well, I got to check this country. What about this country? What about this country? And there were some pretty darn good ones.
There's some old movie posters, especially monster movie posters, are sometimes so much better than the movie itself. And that Gorgo with the hand coming out of the water, especially, I'm not saying that that's better than the movie, but I think about it. It's like once every 6 months or so, I'm like, oh man, maybe I should buy that Gorgo poster. There's a movie I don't know if you've ever seen or heard of called The Crater Lake Monster. It's kind of like a sea monster-ish movie.
From what era?
I think it's got to be 60s or 70s. Okay. It's an older film.
I know that.
The movie is awful. It is so bad. I watched it once and I was like, "Ugh, this is awful." The poster, Jay.
That's great.
The poster is so good. Whoever did the artwork for the poster for that movie knew what they were doing, man. It's great. It's got great color. It just looks great. I love the poster for that film. And I think it's really fun. I wish there were more. I'm sure there are poster books out there for this kind of stuff, but I want a poster book that's just all Kaiju, Harryhausen, all these monster movie, artworks, because there's a lot of really good stuff out there.
So 1977, I recognize the monster, but I would not have been able to put it in that movie.
Well, it doesn't even look on the poster, it doesn't really look like what it looks like in the movie, I don't think.
No, not at all. The monster looks kind of like some sort of plesiosaur, but like in the book or in the poster, in the movie. In the poster, it looks almost like it's like a T-Rex or something.
Yeah, it's so different. The poster's great though. I think that artwork's awesome. Jay, you got anything else to say about Gorgo here?
No, I like Gorgo. I like movie posters.
We like Gorgo.
Oh, I have one question for you. The final question to kind of wrap it up.
Okay.
Mother's Day this weekend.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about Kaiju here. That's why they pay us the big bucks.
Uh-huh.
Gorgo's mom.
Yeah.
Daigaro's mom. Who's the better mom?
Ooh. Daigoro might have the looks, but Gorgo is a badass. Gorgo's mom is a badass. She's showing up
And she doesn't die.
Yeah, she doesn't die. There's no fucking around with Gorgo's mom. It's Gorgo. Yeah, it's Gorgo. Can we call them both Gorgo? It's weird. We don't really have a name for the female, but they specifically named the kid Gorgo. It's not like they're species, right? You just call them both Gorgo. I don't know.
And the kid called him what? Orga, not Orga, not Agra. Is it Dark Crystal Agra or Godzilla Orga? I don't know. But he was like, this is the whatever, the dragon of the sea or whatever. I forgot what it was, but he even called him that name.
Well, I do like that they asked at one point, they're like, why Gorgo? That's a dumb name. And somebody's like, oh, it's the Gorgon. It's the old, they give an explanation for why they name it Gorgo. Old Greek mythology, the Gorgon. That's what Medusa's a Gorgon. So I like that, but it's like, the mom shows up. Gorgo's mom. We're just calling her Gorgo's mom. All right.
Yeah. They're both Gorgo. They're just both Gorgo.
They're both they're Gorgos.
Yeah, they're hive mind. Everybody's Gorgo. But it's a great film. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm glad we got to watch it.
Yeah, it's a good movie. If anybody hasn't seen it, check it out. And please go back Titanic Creations Gorgo, because it's cool and they deserve it. So
Sure.
I think that's all we got for tonight. Jay, we will see you in about 2 weeks. Bye guys.
All right.